piace sandalo lio milani chando nami nawe zimpande zalo zimi unapaka tye ngohlala nawe nginawe njalo noma bamngeni bangathini ilanga loshonini umangaka hlawena umangaliba languwe ilanga loshone mini basamile ukungikhuza ngawe kodwa ngiyafunga ngiyakomela ilanga loshone mini Chanda la mina wezimpande sala zimi unaphakade kohlala nawe nginakwentshalo umangaka hlawena umangalibala nguwe yilanga loshone Mangaka hlawena umangalibala kuwe yilanga loshone mini oh kuyafika izikhukhula nemimoya kodwa thando lwami nawe zimpande zala zimi unaphakade yahlala nawe oh uthando lwami nawe yosiphuka izimpande oh nezihlahla kodwa uthando lwami nawe naphakade Mangaka hlawena oh mangalibala kuwe yilanga loshone mini oh yilanga loshone mini langa loshone mini langa loshone mini Sabila bamdele bushaba funa yongawe Kata ngiyafunga ngiyakomela Yela ngishone mini Yashona ilanga Mini njalo Shone mini Relaxa nina na shone kimini Chando lami nawe Tana mutulu njalo
It is the vocals of Nduduzo, well, rather the vocals of my next guest, not Nduduzo, but Mbuso Khoza, accompanying Nduduzo Makhathini on that one. Two great friends and two great collaborators, the jazz pianist, composer, as well as the Amahubu composer and singer Mbuso Khoza. He's a cultural scholar, really. That's the only way to really describe what he does. He's on his way here. He's actually in reception, making his way down to the studio. He's going to be joining us for the first hour of the show. And we're going to be talking just all things music, culture, and of course, Amahubo, the symphony that is happening at Constitution Hill. And then also coming up on the show, we're going to catch up with Dr. Lulu Gwagwa, who's the founder and director of Traversing Liminality. And we're looking at the 1-year fellowship applications that are open. We'll find out more about this particular opportunity for you. That's coming up in the second half of the first hour of the show. After 2 o'clock, we're going to get into a workplace conversation, and we look at the importance of neuro inclusion in today's workplaces. And with this conversation, we're going to focus particularly on women in leadership. So we're going to have that conversation in, from 2 o'clock, let me put it that way. Hey, good afternoon to you. How are you doing today? I hope you had a wonderful, restful weekend and you're ready for the week that lies ahead. We've got a full show of conversation today, and hopefully you're going to journey with us throughout the 2 hours. Our lines of communication, as always, are open on 061-410-4107. That's our WhatsApp line. And 086-000-2032 is the number that you can call us on. It is The Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga, on SAFM.
Keeping your family healthy this winter can feel like a daunting task. Try the Lung Shield range. It includes capsules to support healthy lungs and immunity, a syrup for kids that supports the immune system and promotes lung health, and an effervescent with 13 essential ingredients to optimize immune function. Put your family's health first this winter with the Lung Shield range. Available without a prescription at leading pharmacies. Lung Shield, prescribed by doctors, recommended by pharmacists.
Bafana Bafana will host Nigeria in a FIFA 2026 World Cup qualifier at the Toyota Stadium on Tuesday, 9 September at 6 p.m. Tickets are now available nationwide and online from 70 Rand for adults and 40 Rand for children at all Ticket Pro outlets, including Spar, Postnet, and all petrol stations. Get your tickets early to avoid disappointment. Come in Bafana Bafana supporter gear, ready to sing for a win. Gates will open at 3 p.m. If you are not in Bloemfontein, catch the game on SABC2. For more information, visit safa.net and at Bafana Bafana on all social media channels.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
All right, we are catching up with Mbuso Khoza, who is a musician, a cultural preservationist, a scholar of music and all things Zulu culture. Haven't spoken to him in a very long time. He's going to be hosting the Amahubo Symphony at the Constitution Hill. That is coming up towards the end of September, and we're going to get into that conversation. But he's also been very busy. He's been very busy because he has been curating the music on everyone's favorite Sunday evening series, Shaga Ilembe, and at the same time also last year, I think it was, when he was working on a collaboration with Udogotela, Grammy Award winning, of course, Nduduzo Makhathini, as well as Ladysmith Black Mambazo. Awu busy. How are you?
I'm very good and you, miss.
Fantastic.
It's been 2 years now.
It's been forever, hey?
Yeah, and I think God works in miraculous ways now. I'm with my crush.
Yeah. Like you said that to all the girls.
No, you must check all my interviews, but I haven't used that line.
You haven't. I'm here for you. All right, let's get into this conversation. I mean, you've been so busy. I don't even know Uti Iskatus Tolagupi, but I guess when you love the thing that you do, you find the time to do as many projects as possible.
I think music is just it's like the falling of the trees when there is wind and they wrestle with one another. I think this is what is happening inside me. Breathing to me is music, and also allocating my time to culture is also important to me, because culture has become a reason to insult people. Oh, it's my culture, so it needs to be analyzed.
Hey, say that again. But that's a whole nother conversation, because what a wow, it's my culture. It's a complete, that's another can of worms that you want to open there, because it also leads me to the second thought that's always attached to that. it's this tribalism that we keep seeing brewing on social media.
Yes.
Amazulu this and that, and Amazulu this and that. And like, but do you understand as a generation what seed we are planting of division and separation? You know?
I think we also need to understand our place here as a humanity. That all the symbols that we have created for this environment are not existing in the universe itself. Looking at 50 Rand, Mauti Rouge, 50 Rand, no, it's a metaphor. Being Umzulu is also a metaphor because humanistically, if you go further and further, you'll realize that we're just the same as substances before we became human beings. So it's good to feel good, what your forefather said, Uzulu. But if you're going to go around and think you are better than others, for me, that's where the problem is. And we need to speak about this. Tina, as Africans, no one should tell us when we are being tribalistic. We should say, no, you don't talk like that. Inhlonipho. Ukuba namahloni ukusho izinto ezimbi.
You see, this is why he is who he is, and people always revel to hear him speak on a whole host of things. I mean, we're going to get into Amahubu, which is happening at the Constitution Hill in just a matter of moments. But let's speak about these great collaborations that you've had.
Yes.
Was it last year that you and Dogotela went into the studio?
It was 2 years ago. Actually, he was he was reciting for his PhD, Dr. Nduduzo Makatin, and then we went to Stellenbosch. I went to perform with him on that day. We recorded that music, but the plan was not to have an album. Then when we listened later, he said, no, but this thing is ready to go out. And then we coined it Sat Abasemkhathini, because Umakhathini means being in the middle of the space. Mkhathini is the one who's already in the space. Usemkhathini, Umi Mama Phakathi, or Umi Makhathini is in the middle of the space. So that's how we came up with the name of the album. But now, later, we are getting invited by, I think, Uxolani Majozi and the Ladysmith Black Mambazo to work on an album. And the album is ready. I think it's going to be released in November.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. Because, I mean, we had Ladysmith here just like 2 weeks ago. Because now they're in the middle of celebrating their big year this year. If I'm
yes. I think is it not 65 years?
Yes, 65 years.
Yeah. Black Mambas, I think, is a shelter for all of us as South African music industry, in terms of being able to take your culture and make it without changing your language. And you go out there, you say, Wang Shiela, no Matemba, and the world listens to you. So for me, that's Imambazo. I think we should have more groups, not to say they should sing like Imambazo, but that longevity, that unity, it can be transferred to the nation.
Absolutely. So then I'm quite interested, because obviously, from your collaborations that we've mentioned, you know, it's the living icons, whether we're talking Ladysmith Black Mambazo, whether we're talking Dogotela, Nduduzo. But there's a new school of musician, right? That sort of, I think, pays homage to what you do and what the other two do, that they've borrowed a little bit from Istatamia, they've borrowed a little bit from traditional folk, and I'm talking about the likes of Abo Sjava, Abo Mlindo, for instance, Abo Big Zulu. Those kids, what are your thoughts around what they're presenting? Yes.
I'm so happy about this movement, to be honest, because if you see that relationship between Sjava and Big Zulu, and it reminds me of the times of Bayet, Sakile, those olden musical groups that ever came up outside, Otsepotsula with Sankomoda. So when these young people are saying, we are now going to call ourselves Izinkabi Zezwe, meaning we don't have to go around and kill people, but let us use these energies in the music. Sibe zinkabi in the music. Inkabi meaning an ox. Sidonse. Sizodonsa la music. So I think it's a great concept. It needs more knowledge around it so that it grows.
Yeah. Well, would you, and I don't know, because obviously, the two are KZN born and bred boys, but would you have a thinking around collaborating with them? Has that conversation ever happened in your spaces?
Kunini beyisho leyo nto sijava benomnqobi betha senze ingoma until today. Balindi. They've been saying that,
Yes.
but I think it's because our schedules are really hectic. But yeah, I love and also if you look after Uringo Madlingo's
Yes.
being that figure that gave us a catalog, Usjava is slowly becoming that. Because if you have to look at Uringo Madlingo's, he can get into a stadium and say, Ngayamngedo adlule oh ndiyagodola adlule wemuga utoli, you know, he's that kind of a musician. And if you're looking at Usjava again,
Yeah.
enhlizweni yami ngicela wena wedwa ikhandlela, all of those songs, sasinenhle ntenhle sayona, and you look at that, yabona ukuthi slowly Usjava will come on stage one day and sing 20 songs and all of us we know them.
That's the truth. That's the
Yeah,
truth.
yeah.
I mean, I know we're here to talk about you, but I love sometimes reflecting.
No,
also
it's
on
cool.
the
It's
past and
great.
the
It's
present.
great.
I love it. And I
Yes.
think what I appreciate about what you've I never thought about Uringo and his catalog, and you're so correct. He has such a catalog and it
Yes.
spans generations. You know,
Yeah.
He's the generation of my mother, but I know Ringo's music. Younger people know Ringo's music. And I was in Durban last year on the invite of Umam Tembe at the Durban Playhouse.
Olinda Bukhosini, yes.
And Strava was performing. It could have been actually the end of 2023. And Strava was performing ahead
Yes.
of the release of his new album. I've never been to a full Strava concert, but I'm a big fan.
Yes.
I remember that those kids in that auditorium at the Playhouse were standing from the first song until the last song.
Exactly.
And they knew every word.
Exactly. It's more like the people like this in the universe, they come maybe once in 10 years. Look at Ulutha van Ross. Now it's like that. Is a power of love. Streaming my pain with his finger. And you can just, hello. It's easy. It's all Ringo Madlingos and Java, South Africa. They need to be honored. And that's why I was sleeping on Ringo Madlingos lately, because he is a legend, not a legend. A legend would be someone
A
who...
living icon.
Yes, because a legend is someone who has passed away and legends are growing in their name and the people are writing.
Yeah.
But to come to me because of my grey beard, oh, this is a legend. Come on.
Well, listen, you're a living icon in your own right, Mbuso Khoza, in your own right. And I
Yes.
think that also is what makes you such a phenomenal musician.
Yes.
And a phenomenal cultural observer and scholar as well, is your ability to realize that culture spans across generations. And you have an appreciation for how it's presented by various artists. You know, and I think because sometimes people live in the silo of what
Yes.
they know and who they came up with, and it's very difficult for them to then try and transpose themselves to what are the younger people doing, how are they interpreting this conversation.
You know what, it makes me think of the importance of understanding the stylistics as a singer and as a player. For instance, you must understand ukuthi in order for a vocalist to say wama uyangihlupha madoda yana ungibisa ngevila umama, so it must be someone who was a head boy, umfazi omnyama from Ganongoma. But now as a vocalist you understand the technique as a tool, and you can even move from from the, and that's another nuance. You can easily move and say, oh, may God be with you, easily say, oh, so this is what I always encourage with younger vocalists. The understanding of formal stylistics, what is the improvisation. Imagine being in a jungle and you don't know what to do and the snake comes. You will do something, but you don't know what you will do. So you can't pre-record the improvisation.
This is why he is who he is. If you could see how enamored everyone in the studio is right now, from our camera operators who are of the young generation to our intern and Mark, who's Mark. What are you? You're not an old dopey, because I mean you're not.
He's grayish.
You're grayish, but not exactly old. We're going to take a quick break and then we come back and we continue our conversation with Umbuso Khoza. He's in the studio today, and we're going to be talking Amahu with the symphony, which is happening at Constitution Hill.
Thank you, Bridget. On the news headlines, a person has been arrested after trying to smuggle a firearm inside the Wynberg Magistrates Court in Cape Town today. This was revealed by the Deputy Minister for Justice and Constitutional Development, Andres Nel, at a media briefing outside the Athlone Magistrates Court. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi says 2 out of the 5 traffic wardens who were shot in Davidson, Ekurhuleni yesterday are in a critical condition, and a group of 13 Palestinians who say their families were subjected to violence during British rule in the first half of the last century has called for an official apology from the UK. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
Ikhona lento yenzayo, ikhona lento yenzayo, hayibo, ikhona lento yenzayo, ikhona lento yenzayo, hayibo, ikhona lento yenzayo, ikhona lento yenzayo, wena ikhona lento yenzayo, ikhona lento yenzayo, ngoma ngilala, ngoma ngivuka, ikhona lento yenzayo, hayibo, ikhona lento yenzayo.
Inhliziyo yami ishaya umqiqo noma ngithi ngivala amehlo ngizwa awesitho sakho mthanda umuntu isiqiqi mawoqi ayini lo ngenza yona ngiyacela mthanda umuntu vele uthatha intando yakho uyifake emanzini ngoba
bakwami nikhona lento yenzayo nikhona lento yenzayo hey wena nikhona lento yenza kimi nikhona lento yenzayo hayibo nikhona lento yenzayo kuma yini nikhona lento yenzayo hey wena nikhona lento yenza kimi nikhona lento yenzayo uma ngilala inhliziyo yami bu inhliziyo yami yathuma njalo nje njalo mangibona wena you make me happy you make me feel happy ngajabula mina mangibona wena mthana umuntu khona lento yenzayo nikhona lento yenzayo hey khona lento yenzayo lento icela ungayiye hayibo khona lento yenzayo lapho ngiyenda hayibo khona lento yenzayo uma ngivuka hayibo khona lento yenzayo
Wonderful track right there, ladies from Black Mambazo and Duduzo Makatini, aka Udogotela, and Mbuso Khoza coming through with You Make Me Happy, featuring Don Tandeka King on the music video.
Yes.
It's beautiful. This is actually a wonderful collaboration. I mean, I know we've spoken about the genesis of this project.
Yes.
It's a wonderful collaboration. I would like to actually see the three of you in tour. Is that anything possible?
29 and 30 November, I think we'll be at the State Theatre.
The three of you?
Yes.
Oh, for the State Theatre show.
Yes.
I'm coming, and I already told Lady Smithut I'm coming to that.
That will
one,
be
so
the launch of this album. Yes.
then I'm definitely coming to that one. It's going to be wonderful. There's something about your work, though. There's something about your work that evokes an emotion. Like
Yes.
it's very. There's a spiritual energy about what you do, and I think we've spoken about this in the past, and especially when you are delving into the reign of Amahubo.
Yes. I think for me, I've been inspired by Christianity. If you look at Hebrews, how they they documented their music, their history. Later, they write songs about the works of Yeshua, and they put some notation there. And then when you say Igama lenkosi liyo inqaba, I was looking at that. Why am I not going to 1856 and say the battle between Umbuyazo and King Cetshwayo? What songs were recorded there? Shiya heyo kandaba izwe lichulo kandaba bayama. Then I notate that with my notes and with the analysis. Actually, I'm writing a book with Professor Mazibuko from UJ. It's called Injati Yomhambi. I'm looking at the history of Amahubo, linguistically, historically. If you were to look at the rain when it hits the leaves of the tree, and later the rivers are full, there is a vowel change there from to and then the older people would say the rivers imifuli yahoba iyaholoba. So this was a basic inseparability between us as humanity and what is happening in the ecological systems there, because normally people would say, when I came to this world, but coming from where? Because sonke lana we burgeoned like trees. Kwakuya ngama evolution kuthi namipa, you see another humanity like trees. So no one came from anywhere, and we are not going anywhere, because what's going to happen? We're going to destroy this planet because we think we are going somewhere, and we know we're gonna form a very, very evil attitude toward this environment. So this is why I pay homage to those who came before us, because when they wrote this music, they were literally inspired by nature. When you say ilanga, alikho ilanga, abekho abantu belanga, kepha ukulangazelela as a verb. When you wake up in the morning and you feel the heat, this is why even the meaning of the day, tag, it meant simply to burn, so that later you can sleep. So it means all of these holes in your body, those are nerve endings. Later we are turning this temperature into cold. In the morning when you are waking, we are changing the temperature. So we are up. Where are you going, Mo? We are in this space. So Amahubo inspired me now to say, each and every surname, they had to document their own historicities when they were traveling. Or cause, for an example, if they were in next to Intaba, the mountain space, they would say, "Ukhoza ka kumete ka mkhathini usesi phezi." Obtelezi unqengelele of the Buthelezi clan is the one actually who came up with amasi to heal the worms in the stomach. Later, when they were moving as a family, they moved to the next to the river called Mkonjana. When they say Sisugaze, they said we had nothing. Later they sang, Ha kukethi insugaze, kukethi siziba sikamkonjana, meaning the river that we have built next to is the one that called us. So it's very important to have this knowledge. Kubesutu, we have what you call huhobela, mikhorotlo. When are we going to hear all of this if we do not dig deep?
I want us to take this ad spot now, and then we come back with like the final 5 minutes of the conversation, so we're not interrupted.
Lovely.
We are hanging out with Mbuso Khoza. Every time I talk to him, I'm tempted to call him Naik Dokotela ngoba you can hear why. Let's take a quick
I
break,
wish.
and then we'll be
I
right
don't
back.
even have a metric. I could not even get to what standard 9, so.
Siabuya with that one. I'm now only just finding out that. We'll be back.
This year, the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival presents 3 unforgettable days deep in the art and heart of jazz. From the 26th, 27th and 28th of September, Umu Sankare, Ababemu, Jasmia Horn, Silent Law and the Noisemakers, Najbonk Trio, Michelle Ndingio Jello, Velemsini, Gabby Mutuba, and over 50 world-class acts will be ready to welcome you and yours to 4 magnificent stages of the Sandton Convention Center. Take me there. Buy your tickets at Ticketmaster now.
This week on FC Meets, sports brand specialist and creative director Chama Malulega talks to us about the rising Yeleti sports brand. From school sport partnerships to athlete collaborations, join us to find out more. Tune into SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 and SABC Plus on Saturday 13 September at 6 p.m. FC Meets, football made for community by community. Retain Chai Game. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
What impact then has it had on your life in terms of your work as a journalist and how it's affected you practically?
Well, Emerson Mnangagwa is different from Mugabe because Mugabe tried to have a bit of sophistication. So if he wanted to come after you, he will use laws and rules that are tangible. But Emerson Mnangagwa doesn't operate like that. He can arrest you like he did to me, using a law that does not exist. And even if you have done nothing wrong, I was thrown into prison 3 times inside 6 months.
Hope will let you know, no, right? Award-winning journalist.
Ashraf Garda on SAFM. Find the podcast at safm.co.za. You are listening to The Full Circle.
So in our final moments with you,
Final moments, I'm not dying.
I know. Okay,
Joking.
not in that sense. Firstly, what you just said as we went into the break, and then we must come back and touch a little bit on the show that's coming up. What you just said when we went into the break about, not having your matric and.
Yes.
But what? Okay, do you not see a need to go just do it now for yourself?
I don't have time, and if I do it, I'm asking myself, what is it that I'll be gaining extra in terms of the knowingness? Because my question, I've been asking this, it's good to go to school and you achieve doctorate, masters, but my question is, how much do you know with all the papers? At what age did you say, I am now capable of knowing anything, apart from what you were fed at school, fed at home, fed at church, by community? Our minds are being programmed. This is why we even live with the anxiety and depression, because we academia, they are crunching time. They want papers after papers, but scholarly, if you think scholarly, that's when you get knowledge and you want no papers with it, but you just want to achieve in knowingness. So now the question is, what is known to the knower? Who makes sure that it is known? And you as a knower, how do you get to know what you know?
Okay.
Because this is about papers that are about papers, or books that are about books. But you as an individual, do you understand that in your head you have billions of neurocells and neurons that are shooting like a big bang all the time when you think? It's up to you. If you want to think low and your thought vibration is low and you can't cause any causality, it's up to you. But in this moment, not in the future, not in the past. I will end it there.
I mean, listen, we will keep seeking the knowing. I tell you, when I say if I could reverse the cameras so that you can see the look of the young ones in studio, I don't think they've ever encountered, wisdom and knowledge being presented in such a manner. They're even standing on their toes at this moment. So Amahubo Symphony at Constitution Hill.
28 September, the walls are going to fall. I'll be presenting the songs from Mundaba up to King Shaka, Ilembe, and present the songs from Buthelezi, Ongema, different family songs there. And then I'll be featuring Mikorotlo, Hobela, Babasut, and also Ama poets from Sipedi to Siswati. So people can purchase tickets on Quicket. Amahubo Symphony is the name of the show. I'm launching actually this project. This is going to be the first symphony that is going to be focusing on our indigenous music, from lullabies. If you look at Chulamtona, Mamageko, those are European melodies, but then the history that is there. For instance, Mamageko, The nanny was suspected to be sleeping with the husband. Amasi kanti awadlanga inja kagogo, the friend of Ugo. You know, these poetic aspects that are found in Amahubo, so will be dissected on the 28th of September. The walls are going to fall.
Oh, the walls are definitely going to fall indeed. 28th of September, Quicket is where you go get yourself the tickets if you want to see Dr. Well, there I go again. Mbuso Khoza. Can I just call you doctor by like way of, you know how we give people doctorates?
Oh, yeah, okay.
And then we call them doctors?
So you want to throw it at me?
Yes, an honorary doctorate, because honestly, I think at this point you deserve it. Mbuso Khoza is going to be at Constitution Hill with the Amahubo Symphony. You definitely don't want to miss it. The 28th of September. Quicket is where you go get your tickets. You'll figure it out by way of your scheduling. Guti, how do you make this show and make the last day of the Joy of Jazz? Somewhere, somehow, you'll work it out in your calendar yourself. But it's definitely going to be a show worth seeing indeed. 28th of September. Why do you make it one day? You did this a couple of years ago where you did one day and then by demand you ended up having 3 days.
It went to 3 days, yes. And I'm suspecting this one because tickets are really moving fast. This is the very first interview, actually, about this show.
Okay.
And thank you so much. And people have been so supportive.
No, wonderful.
Yeah, zizokhala kakhulu. We will even go to Usivuse Nkosi Musa. Usivusenga mandla.
Interesting. You know, as the thing is, you connect too many dots because now, as you're singing, I'm thinking about a conversation we had with Kutlwano Masote.
Yeah.
Was it at the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
Kutlwano was here and he was presenting classical music, but in a was it the African Methodist rhythmic ways? And he was breaking it down, how like this church music that Africans grew up with is translated into classical notation. And so as you sing now, I'm like, I'm sure there's space there for collaboration as well.
They should.
Especially a show collaboration. It would be amazing.
Actually, to encourage South Africans,
Shaping the future under the theme Reimagine Our Heritage Institutions for a New Era. We celebrate the stories, traditions, and voices that define who we are as a nation. From vibrant conversations to thought-provoking debates, SAFM is where heritage meets innovation, connecting generations and keeping our culture alive in a changing world. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
With the ever-changing financial landscape, it can be difficult to make sense of all the moves at times. Join me, Jimmy Moyaha, on the SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m, as we break down the key market trends, top financial stories, and smart investment insights, all in one place. It's everything you need to stay financially informed and ahead of the curve.
SAFM has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Under the code, we are committed to giving news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that is not harmful, does not amount to hate speech, or contain violence or explicit sex. If you think we are not living up to that code, then you can inform the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Direct any complaints in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. PO Box 142365. Craig Hall 2024. Fax to 011-326-3198 or an email to bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more information, please visit www.bccsa.co.za. SAFM supports a litter-free South Africa. Play your part in keeping our surroundings and environment clean. SAFM, leading the conversation.
This year, the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival invites you to 3 unforgettable days deep in the heart and art of jazz from the 26th until the 28th of September across 4 enchanting stages at the Sandton Convention Center, where you'll be mesmerized by world-renowned stars like Esperanza Spalding, Hakeem Bazaar Trio, Jasmine Horn, as well as Elaine and Amanda Black, Michelle Ndengo Cello, and Gabby Mutuba. And of course, there's over 50 world-class acts taking to the stage. Take me there. Buy your tickets today at Ticketmaster right now.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
All right, we're catching up with our next guest now, Dr. Lulu Gwagwa, who is the founder and director of Traversing Liminality, and they are offering a 1-year fellowship. Applications are open right now. We're going to find out a little bit more about this program. How are you doing this afternoon, Doc? Dr. Lulu?
It's Sarah Bab here.
Dr. Lulu? Let's try and connect again. Let's take a quick pause and then we'll be right back.
This Heritage Month, SAFM invites you to journey into the past while shaping the future under the theme, Reimagine Our Heritage Institutions for a New Era. We celebrate the stories, traditions, and voices that define who we are as a nation. From vibrant conversations to thought-provoking debates, SAFM is where heritage meets innovation, connecting generations and keeping our culture alive in a changing world. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. SAFM has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Under the code, we are committed to giving news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that is not harmful, does not amount to hate speech, or contain violence or explicit sex. If you think we are not living up to that code, then you can inform the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Direct any complaints in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. PO Box 142365, Craig Hall 2024. Fax to 011-326-3198 or an email to bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more information, please visit www.bccsa.co.za. You are listening to The Full Circle.
Okay, let's try and squeeze in as much as we can in the 7 minutes that we have with Dr. Lulu Gwagwa, founder and director of Traversing Liminality. This is a supportive platform that was created for ambitious and driven young black women. How are you doing this afternoon, Dr. Lulu? Dr. Lulu?
Hi, can you hear me?
Now I can. Are you all right?
I'm good, and how are you this afternoon?
I'm great, thank you. Let's get straight into it. Give us some background about Traversing Liminality and the need for a mission such as this.
Bridget, is as simple as this. What we try to do in Traversing Liminality is to support young women to maneuver and address their limiting beliefs. And these limiting beliefs for young African women between the ages of 21 to 30 emanate really from the position that they are in society, where they are squeezed, if I can put it that way, between race, gender, age, culture, religion, class, and the combination of all of these, which society is really pushing towards these young women, produces a whole series of limiting beliefs because they're socialized in a particular way. And in Traversing Liminality, we really just working with these young women to bring into awareness what's going on with them and why they're struggling to progress as much as they should be progressing in their careers, in their relationships, and in society broadly.
Yeah.
So that's essentially what we're doing in Traversing Liminality,
I
is
think-
to work on the inner mastery for these young women.
I think what you speak about here also speaks quite greatly on the unique challenges that more particularly young African women face at transitional life stages.
Absolutely. And I think the uniqueness of it comes out of the culture as well. Because, as you know, we are socialized to really not be looking people in the eye. You will be told, "Suhamba phambili, don't be in the forefront." And so all of these things, you come to the workplace, you are supposed to raise your hand. You are supposed to show up for yourself. You're supposed to raise your hand. But that's not how we are socialized. And sometimes in the workplace, these unique challenges and limiting beliefs is not understood. So when you put together a graduate program, it doesn't quite understand that and is not addressing that. And so that's the area that we're really trying to cover and to support these young women around.
How do the interventions of coaching or, even therapy, perhaps, or a combination of all of those, begin to transform the trajectory of young women and begin to instill with them that inner mastery that you speak of?
It's because, Bridget, a lot of these young women have been to school, they've been to university, and so they're actually qualified. And so you don't necessarily needing to train them more, but corporate wants to train and train and train. So we coming, and of course there's an important part for that. We coming with coaching and psychotherapy. Coaching is about really saying to you, how do we excavate that inner you, that inner knowing, that self that you were born with before all these limiting beliefs cropped into your life. So that's what coaching does. It really tries to draw your voice out of, you've got the voice, but how do you project that voice? Psychotherapy is something that came to us only just 3 years ago, if I can put it that way. We started to realize that a lot of these young women as well are dealing with childhood trauma. And that childhood trauma does also hold them back. And that's why we also introduced psychotherapy. So what we provide, therefore, it's a combination of coaching. Coaching deals with the present and future, and psychotherapy deals with your past. Because you can't talk about the future if you are not addressing your past that's holding you back. That makes it difficult for you to see the real opportunities that are in front of you. That makes it possible to also see the real challenges that are in front of you. Because the challenges of race and gender are real. But sometimes young women blame themselves because they are not seeing clearly that actually this is the environment. But then what are the tools that I have in order to maneuver through this environment that is largely outside my control? But I can control how I interpret and how I actually express myself in this environment that is not conducive or in most instances accepting of me as a young black woman.
In our last minute, Dr. Lulu, the applications for the 2026 cohort are opened. They opened on the 1st of September and they close on the 30th. Give us some information around that.
If young women between that age of 21 to 30 across the African continent, because it's a Pan-African program, so we're already in 18 African countries. So you visit our website, which is www.traversingliminality.com. And in that website, the application form is there. So you apply online. And if you are not able to, our website, you can reach us through our website, which is also on the website. And then we can reach out to you and send you the application form. But I will also say that we take 100 a year. And by on the third day, we were already inundated with applications from across the continent. So that's the reality of it, because these issues are very real.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wish we had more time to dedicate to this, but www.traversingliminality.com is where you can go if you're a young woman 21 to 30 years of age, and you're looking for a platform that can support your ambitions and help focus your goals. It sounds like this would be the program for you. 100 applications that are onboarded every single year across 17 African countries. That was Dr. Lulu Gwagwa, founder and director of Traversing Liminality, and they're supported by a network of life coaches, executive therapists, psychologists, social workers, who all really guide the fellows through both the personal and professional growth. So if you are 21 to 30, and you are in one of the 17 African territories, I'm sure you'll find more details online, then go ahead and put through your application. 2 o'clock on the dot. Time for us to catch up with the news with Ondela.
Thank you, Bridget. On the top stories, man tries to smuggle a firearm into court and Palestinian families call on UK for official apology. For SAFM News, I am Ondela Mbana, and a very good day. A person has been arrested after trying to smuggle a firearm inside the Wynberg Magistrate Court in Cape Town today. This was revealed by Deputy Minister for Justice and Constitutional Development, Andres Nel, at a media briefing outside the Athlone Magistrates Court. The arrest follows a shooting incident on the court's premises last Friday in which a person was killed. Nel and Cape Town Judge President Nolwazi Boqwana are visiting the crime scene and are also inspecting infrastructure, including metal detecting scanners. Recently, a person was shot and killed inside a courtroom in Wynberg, and another person was shot and killed outside Mitchell's Plain Magistrate Court, while another sustained injuries. Nel elaborates.
On the issue of the metal detectors in Wynberg, I visited that court very shortly after that incident. Immediately, metal detectors were deployed there. We did check, they were functioning. And I think we're also very happy to announce that at that same court, earlier today, our security officials using those metal detectors were able to detect successfully an attempt to smuggle a firearm into that court. Firearm was detected, confiscated, and the necessary legal processes are following.
The Kimberley Regional Court has sentenced a 35-year-old man to 35 years imprisonment for his role in the theft of firearms and ammunition at Petrosville Police Station in November 2023. Benjamin Mutswane pleaded guilty to all the charges. 5 of his accomplices, who include 2 police surgeons who were stationed at the robbed police station, will continue with their trial in November. Hawk spokesperson Tabu Khotebe says the firearms were recovered in the Free State at Senegal and Makwad.
The accused was sentenced as follows. On count 1 of theft of firearms and ammunition, the accused was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment. On count 2 of unlawful possession of firearm without a license, 5 years imprisonment. Count 3 of unlawful possession of prohibited firearm, 13 years imprisonment. Count 4 of unlawful possession of ammunition, 2 years imprisonment. Count 5, which is contravention of Prevention of Organized Crime Act, 5 years imprisonment.
The state says businessman Vusumuzi Kat Matlala has not been honest, as it has been discovered that he has a trust in Mauritius. Matlala continues with his bid to be released on bail at the Alexandra Magistrates Court. The 49-year-old is charged with the attempted murder of actress Tabuko Tobejani. The case stems from a shooting in 2023 on the N1 near Sandton, north of Johannesburg, where Tobejani was wounded. Opposing the application, the state has argued that Matlala also has a fraudulent Eswatini identity document with a different surname. Pearl Makubane reports.
An image of the fraudulent Eswatini identity document is alleged to have been sent through a phone message from Matlala's wife, who is also the co-accused in the attempted murder case of Tebogo Tobejani. The state says data from Home Affairs shows that Matlala went to Eswatini on 2 occasions in February and April on foot. However, there is no data that shows that he ever returned to South Africa. The prosecutor says Matlala has not been playing open cards with the state, as it has been discovered that he has a trust in Mauritius, despite him declaring he had no business interest, no family in a foreign country.
Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi says 2 out of the 5 traffic wardens who were shot in Davidton, Ekurhuleni yesterday are in a critical condition. He says one of the wardens remains unconscious in ICU while the other has regained consciousness but remains in ICU. The wardens came under fire at the Davidton railway station yesterday when they attempted to search 12 people during a routine patrol. Lesufi briefed the media after visiting the wardens.
One is seriously critical in intensive care. The other one was also in the intensive care unit. At least is conscious. I managed to exchange some greetings with her and to indicate our support to her. The other 2, I think they are recovering very well. I think they will be discharged soon, but the doctors are still giving them the necessary support. The driver was discharged, but still have a bullet lodged in his shoulder. I think the medical team has advised that they need to take it easy for now, and they will call him at the right moment.
A group of 13 Palestinians who say their families were subjected to violence during British rule in the first half of the latest century has called for an official apology from the UK. The group has submitted a lengthy legal petition to the British government. The BBC's Tom Bateman reports.
The petition alleges British conduct against Palestinians during the 3 decades of colonial rule from 1917, known as the Mandate, involved repression of the population that amounted to war crimes and crimes against humanity. Much of the 400-page document focuses on what was known as the Arab Revolt in the late 1930s, when British forces crushed an insurgency using methods described by policies of the time as collective punishment. Practices included home demolitions and the use of prisoners as human shields, with the dossier alleging a widespread pattern of murder, torture, persecution and arbitrary detention.
Recapping the top story, a person has been arrested after trying to smuggle a firearm inside the Wynberg Magistrates Court in Cape Town today. I'm on Dilambana for SFM News Headlines at 2:30.
EFC's heavyweight title fight is live this Thursday. Elvis Moyo, the legend, a name whispered in the halls of greatness.
Elvis is the heavyweight champion of the EFC.
Now stands on the edge of his greatest enemy, Mutunga Jikasa. Triple H enters the Hex with a score to settle. Now redemption is on the line. EFC is live this Thursday from the World Sports Betting Arena. Watch it on SABC Sport Channel on DTT Channel 4 from 7 p.m. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
Do you know what's hiding behind the colorful packaging of unhealthy food? Big food companies target children with unhealthy packaged foods that hide high levels of sugar, salt, and fat, which could lead to heart disease, diabetes, and hypertension. But the truth is hidden from consumers. Front-of-package warning labels are a proven solution to help consumers make informed decisions. The government must act now. We have the right to know what's in our food. Demand front-of-package warning labels. Sign the petition on heala.org, HEALA.org, by the 30th of September.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
She falls asleep through all the noise.
no sound. Sometimes she comes undone and she finds all my weaknesses. She knows just what to do. She knows just what to do. Only yesterday speaks for yesterday. Only yesterday speaks for yesterday. Every part of me, wholeheartedly, I wouldn't dream of anyone else. She knows just what to do. She knows just what to do. Only yesterday.
I was trying to get some information around this particular track and was struggling to do so. Just Ginger coming through with She Knows. The album apparently is Here's to You. I don't know if that's correct or not. If there's some Just Ginger fans here, maybe you can let us know. And also trying to figure out when exactly this song came out. That'd be interesting. The other question that we had in studio is, what happened to Just Ginger? Where are they? What are they up to? What are they doing? I'm pretty sure they're probably still performing somewhere, but they've just been quiet from, a local perspective. But I'm pretty sure they're performing. Just not sure where. It's Just Ginger coming through, which She Knows. That is how we get into the second hour of the show. We're going to have a conversation now around the importance of neuro-inclusion, particularly so in today's workplace. And the focus also is on women in leadership. And we are catching up with adjunct faculty and professional associate at Gibbs, Dr. Sarah Babb joins us on the line for this one. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Hi, Bridget, and to listeners. And I agree, we're Just Ginger.
Yeah, right? It's just a question we had. We're like, we don't know if we haven't heard new music from Just Ginger. So wherever you guys are, please bless us with new music. Thank you so much for the time, Dr. Sarah. Much appreciated indeed. Let's have this conversation. Statistically, from what I'm reading, despite the fact that 15 to 20% of the population are classified as neurodiverse, there seems to be a limit to the awareness around this conversation, particularly so in the workplace.
Yes, it is actually quite startling how we have 20% of our population with unseen diversities that truly bring strength and a different way of seeing the world. And we're not necessarily aware of the breadth of that and the impact of that in our workplaces. And I think there are a few reasons. I think For one, this has been seen as a disability, it's been seen as a medical deficit, and it's almost spoken about in hushed terms in many circles, whereas in fact the numbers are growing, and really to lift the lid and normalize conversations around how unseen diversities is so healthy. So we have, all of our brains are different, like our fingerprints or our eyes, our irises. And so we have neurodiversity, which is the way our brain functions, the way we process our environment. And within that spectrum, we have neurodivergence, and that is 15 to 20% of our population. And that includes dyslexia. Famously, Richard Branson is dyslexic, and ADHD. We have Tourette syndrome. Billie Eilish talks about her Tourette syndrome. We have more people talking on platforms about being on the spectrum. In fact, I was at a session last week where Mo Gaudat of global AI fame talks openly about being on the spectrum, and how autism has actually helped him see the world in a critical way and to really view things differently. So this really is amongst 1 in 5 of us, in our employees, in our families, in our customer base. So being able to talk about it is just such a natural thing. And the numbers are growing, which is so interesting. So we see the rise of diagnosis of younger children and of girls as our diagnosis becomes less gender biased.
Yeah.
The CDC says 1 in 31 8-year-olds is being diagnosed as being on the spectrum, and there are different levels within that. And the growing diagnosis of women as we begin to understand the link with hormonal fluctuations. So really is a growing conversation for us to see, how do we include, how do we normalize, how do we see the strengths that each of these profiles brings.
Yeah, I mean, very interesting. 1 in 31 young girls, you're saying. We had a neurosurgeon here about 3 weeks ago from Mpumalanga, the only neurosurgeon in Mpumalanga, and she was saying as well that 1 in 5 young girls is diagnosed or would be probably diagnosed with autism, which is an interesting statistic. And you say, and data also says that increasingly so, midlife women at the peak of their careers being diagnosed with ADHD, autism, or some kind of neurodivergent.
Yes, so if you think about what's happened in the past, the diagnosis tools were very much based on white boys, white men from the West, and excluded or misdiagnosed. And even with the hormonal fluctuations of each month, or perimenopause and menopause, women are often misdiagnosed with either anxiety or depression or other challenges, when in fact now research is showing the link with neurodivergent traits. So it's becoming more clear, the diagnosis. For example, as the estrogen drops, so ADHD is misunderstood. It means there's lower dopamine. So you either may be inattentive or attentive ADHD, and you're seeking novelty, you're seeking creativity, you're seeking new insights. And with the drop in dopamine, and as we have hormonal fluctuations, the drop of estrogen lowers the dopamine even more. And it's often misunderstood and misdiagnosed. But if we understood actually for ourselves and for our organizations that perhaps this is an indication of neurodivergence, we could really play to those strengths. We could be retaining, we could be engaging, we could be bringing people on board through inclusion, and through that person understanding how best to bring themselves to each day at work. So the ADHD with a natural tendency for big system thinking, being able to be more resilient, being able to work calmly in crisis, don't we all need that in our organizations? And autism, the ability to process detail, being able to work with huge amounts of data, being able to hyper-focus, also assets. Greta Thunberg, being an example of that, taking up social justice causes often. And with reasonable accommodations, which actually we require to have anyway, they could be quite simple. So it's things like noise-cancelling headphones, or some flexible work practices, or some help with executive functioning.
Yeah.
So really easy to accommodate in many respects if we understand what that lost talent might actually mean to us.
Dr. Sarah, I just want us to quickly pause here, and then we'll come back just to take a quick break, and we'll come back and explore more about, the link between neurodivergence and women's leadership, and of course, how do we begin to shift that conversation towards more inclusive measures in the workplace. It's at 2:20 on The Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga.
The National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
What about the AU?
My brother, AU is dead. AU is DEAD, is dead. It's a useless body. We've been captured by the French again. What will they do? Have they documented any crimes against humanity committed in Cameroon? No.
Okay.
Have they done anything? No. Have they intervened? No. AU is useless.
Dr. David Matsanga, and that's saying AU is dead. DEAD.
Ashraf Garda on SAFM. Find the podcast at safm.co.za. You are listening to The Full Circle.
It's interesting. I just saw a tweet that says, I'm pretty sure that car radios are the only reason why radio still exists in 2025. And the comments underneath it are equally as silly. Considering that radio as a medium occupies still a very much primary and important space, especially on this continent. It continues to be a growing medium of communication. But anyway, we'll have that conversation on a different day. We're talking to Dr. Sarah Barb now, and we are talking the importance of neuro-inclusion in today's workplaces, particularly so when we're focusing on women in leadership. Having heard some of that statistical data in the beginning part of our conversation, that really indicates the impact or the prevalence of neurodivergency within women and girl children. And what does that mean, Dr. Sarah, when we move into workspaces, right? Considering we only are now really just scratching the surface of conversations around female inclusion, around considering feminine health within professional settings, conversations and topics around menopause, for instance, and how do we accommodate just those basic life changes in the workplace. And now we add the double whammy of neurodivergency, which is something that a lot of people are only but in recent years beginning to put a name on it.
And I think the premise must be, so in a workplace, what does a workplace need to survive with the amount of change and turbulence and challenges just to survive in this economy? Really needs diversity, and we understand that, and research shows that, and companies that really engage with different ways of thinking are more creative, are more innovative, are more productive. So if that's the premise, then we really look at how do we engage different ways of thinking. And neurodiversity and neurodivergence really offers that already. So a workplace already has neurodivergence. If we're understanding the stats of 15 to 20% and growing. So how do we really then just recognize that if we have places where people can bring their best selves, if they can engage with their creativity, with their thinking, with their best way to perform, then the organizations benefit. So we see companies like SAP with their Autism at Work program, Ernst & Young have got neurodiversity centers, Deloitte, Wells Fargo, many examples of companies that have seen this as a project on how do we actually leverage off this amazing way of thinking and different ways of engaging. We also see a higher prevalence in IT, for example, tech startups. So it's not that it's not there and we now need to think about it. It is there, and it's more about having practices and processes where we find spaces to have engagement in teams, to manage your talent process, to leverage off that. And also, we have the amendments to the Employment Equity Act, which actually raised the target to 3% of disability. And with our new definition being more in line with the UN Convention, neurodivergence falls under that definition as a disability, so mental and cognitive impairment. So if you could raise your safety for people to disclose, you would benefit as an organization from your employment equity plan, from your neurodivergent way of thinking, but also from a wellness point of view, because that person would feel acknowledged and also have practices that help them perform their best.
Yeah.
So the benefits, I think, outperform the challenges. And, with our technology and our flexible work practices, we are accommodating individuals anyway, and our flexible human capital processes. So this, for me, is really just a continuation rather than an addition of something new. And it's about making the invisible visible and adjusting systems and not really making the individual keep adjusting to that system that's not supportive and actually not conducive to high performance.
Dr. Sarah, when you talk about organizations consciously raising safety for people to disclose, I think that speaks to when we talk about women leadership, right? Because it's such a double whammy for women to just raise their hands, firstly, for any kind of leadership consideration, and when we then you put in neurodivergency in there. And I would venture to say that probably right now, as it stands today, as we have this conversation, there's more women who are cautious about disclosing out of fear of being sidelined, perhaps, and overlooked, perhaps, or even for their sort of neurodivergency being used against them as a means of othering them.
And I think that applies to all leaders, absolutely. And this conundrum that great leaders do speak up for injustice or exclusion and do create, even in their own teams, a sense of safety where people can ask questions, raise challenges, come up with new ideas. And we know already that this is the most productive workplace. So even if it's not to the bigger organization, in your own team, you can create as a leader this culture of inclusion, this culture of allowing everybody to work to their best, to actually bring their best selves to work. And there's no doubt that even the Gallup survey finds that 62% of people are disengaged. But if they have one manager that just really sees them and recognizes their work, that they outperform even their own expectations. So I would actually say that is something that all leaders need to consider. And the same with women leadership. If I'm hoping we're reaching a tipping point of up to 30% representation, because the more people we have speaking up about the role modeling, being a woman in leadership, role modeling, really allowing for all differences to come through, whether they're unseen or seen, for engaging each person, that really sets a trend, a tone, an environment for others to follow. So we hope for allies. We hope for those that are beginning to speak up more openly about their needs and also what they contribute, their strengths. And we hope that one person at a time can create that. But you can also set up support groups in the organization, employee resource groups, and we're finding strong traction when there is just a group for people to connect with and share common challenges and even work together to change some processes or procedures.
Just in our last minute and a bit, like last minute and a half or so, you've touched a bit about harnessing the strengths that come with being neurodivergent, and how do you harness those in a professional setting. Let's maybe a little bit more advice for companies and organizations. What is to be considered in 2025 so that you can tap into that innovation and tap into that sort of the impact that having neurodivergent folks could have on your business, likely to have on your business?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we see that 40% of entrepreneurs are ADHD. So it really is, if we can understand it in our own organizations, those strengths of each individual in your team, and in this case, the ability to really view the world differently, to overcome problems, to be resilient, then you really have a force that can support your company to be sustainable, future fit, able to adapt, more flexible. Equally, when you're dealing with huge amounts of data and you have people that perhaps are on the spectrum in your IT department, for argument's sake, or in a specialist area,
this is a strength to understand. So how to actually be able to solve complex problems together. So each person, each manager, each leader, getting to know each person in your team and working to strengths, I think is a trend in human capital anyway, because it makes sense. You can be flexible with your teams, but really put them together in a way that they can focus on those strengths. So it's such a reminder to us that we each are unique, and if we have that space, that we can be really contributing to business performance.
Yeah. Dr. Sarah Barb, thank you so much for the time. Adjunct Faculty and Professional Associate at Gibbs and co-founder and MD of STEM. That is where we leave it for this afternoon with this conversation, 2:30. Time for us to get into the headline news, and then we'll come back into our kids programming, and then we'll get into our final conversation of the day. And we're looking at Africa's creative economy that's to take center stage at the Timbuktu Creatives Hub hosted in Cape Town.
Thank you, Bridget. On the news headlines, Home Affairs Minister Dr. Leon Schreiber says nearly 80 million rand has been spent in the 2024-25 financial year on the deportation of illegal migrants. He was replying to a written parliamentary question by the Patriotic Alliance's Millicent Mutapa. Western Cape Judge President Nolwazi Boqwana has called on members of the public as well as court officials not to be deterred by the recent shootings around the courts in the Cape Metro. And the South African National Taxi Council is calling on operators who have not applied for the Taxi Relief Fund to do so promptly. Applications are set to close on 31 October and extensions will not be granted. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
This program is brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
Hello friends and happy Monday. Welcome to another exciting edition of Kids Corner. I hope you're smiling and ready to share your thoughts. Today let's talk about cartoons. Do you watch them just for fun, or do you also like learning from them? What's your favorite cartoon? And have you ever learned something new while watching it? Cartoons can sometimes teach us really good lessons, like being kind, helping others, or never giving up. What's one lesson you've learned from a cartoon? And if you could choose, what do you think kids should learn more from cartoons? All right, let's hear from some of our friends while you share your answers with those next to you.
Hello everyone, my name is Warna Maslangu. I am in grade 4A at Martha Primary School. I watch cartoons for fun and for learning. My favorite cartoon is Paw Patrol, and I learned about teamwork. Cartoons can teach us to help each other. I want kids to learn more about sharing.
Hello everyone, my name is Martin Bakosa. I am 6 years old. I go to Jabez Christian Academy School. I mostly watch number blocks and alpha blocks. They have taught me how to read and count. Sometimes I watch SpongeBob. It teaches me how to be kind and help other people.
Greetings, my name is Umaha Mampuk. I'm from Marota Primary School. I watch cartoons to laugh, but they also teach. My favorite is Tom and Jerry, and I learned that fighting doesn't solve problems. Cartoons can teach peace. I want kids to learn more about respect. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Andre Mashiro. I am 9 years old from Maruta Primary School. I like cartoons because they are funny, but I also learned from them. My favorite is Dora the Explorer, and I learned some Spanish words. Cartoons can teach us to be kind. I want kids to learn about helping friends.
Hi everyone, my name is Zelanda Mzobe. I am 11 years old. Yes, I do watch cartoons just for fun because I also learn moral lessons. My favorite cartoon is Teen Titans Go because it makes me learn about different kinds of things that if you're a bad person, you cannot get successful in life. Yes, I do think cartoons can teach us good lessons, like being caring to your friends, stop being mean. Thank you, everyone.
Hello, friends. It's me, your boy, King David, and I'm 11 years old and I learn in Parkton Public School. And today I'll be talking about me watching cartoons. I do not watch cartoons just for fun. I also learn from them, not only for fun. I do both, but there are some cartoons that teach in a entertaining way. My favorite cartoon is Beyblade X. And I've learned creativity from it. I learned how to make a Beyblade using just two bottle caps and a pencil and a bottle with some wool to let it rip. Of course, cartoons can teach us good manners and good lessons like being kind, aka helping others. I would like kids to learn educational things, so let cartoons be more educative in this century. Goodbye, y'all, and God bless.
My name is Purvishan Pembe. I am 11 years old. I watch cartoons for both fun and learning. It's great to enjoy the funny stories and characters, but I also like when they teach me something important. My favorite cartoon is Teen Titans. I've learned things like is always success when united with your friends or family. I also have learned problem solving skills, friendship, or teamwork. It really shows how working together can help solve big problems. Definitely, many cartoons show characters being kind and helpful to each other, which is really important. It reminds us that we should always try to be nice and support our friends or family. I would love for kids to learn how about being brave and standing up for what's right, and to understand that it's okay to be different. Cartoons can help us see the value of each other. Thank you.
Greetings, my name is Praise, and today I'll be talking about watching cartoons with the purpose of also learning. I watch cartoons not only for fun but for learning about the things and what they all about. My favorite cartoon is watching ASMR and DIY on YouTube. What I learned from them is making new things from something old that you won't use again, which is part of also recycling, reusing, and reducing trash. Cartoons can sometimes teach us good lessons, like in The Loud House. There's this episodes that teach us about a friend indeed is a friend in need is a friend indeed, and it also tells us that have a heart and do your part, which is stop bullying your peers and be kind to them. What I want to learn more from cartoons is how the filmers and the actors decide on what idea to act on. Thank you.
My name is Duretang Ndlovu and I go to Macaulay House School. My favorite TV show is Secrets of Sulphur Springs. I spend an hour from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock when I come back from school because I have to sleep early. But if I watch on the weekends, I don't spend a lot of time on the TV because me and my brother take turns.
Hello, my name is Bona Ramadan. I'm 12 years old. I don't have a favorite TV show because I watch YouTube and there's a favorite channel of mine on YouTube. But I would say my favorite TV show is SpongeBob SquarePants. I at least spend 2 hours and sometimes 27 minutes on watching TV.
Hi, my name is Asanda Shabalala. My favorite TV show is The Thundermans. I spend 2 hours watching TV, but on holidays I spend more hours because it's school holidays.
Thank you, friends. It's always great to hear from you. Cartoons are such a special part of growing up. Some of us watch them just to laugh and enjoy the adventures, while others notice that cartoons can also teach us real lessons about life. Everyone has a favorite cartoon, talking animals going on fun adventures, or magical characters who live in exciting places. These stories entertain us, but they also sneak in little lessons without us even realizing it. For example, a hero might teach us to be brave and never give up, even when things feel hard. A silly character might remind us that it's okay to make mistakes because mistakes help us learn and grow. And kind, caring characters can show us the importance of friendship, honesty, and helping others. Cartoons also let us use our imagination. They take us to faraway lands, introduce us to different kinds of characters, and show us that anything is possible if we believe. They can also make us curious about real-life things like science, teamwork, or learning about other cultures. Wouldn't it be amazing if cartoons taught us even more about our everyday life? Things like saving money? Wouldn't it be amazing if cartoons taught us even more about our everyday life? Things like saving money, protecting the environment, respecting others, eating healthy, or even chasing after our dreams. That way, kids can learn while still having fun. So the next time you sit down to watch your favorite cartoon, enjoy the fun, but also think about the little messages hidden inside. Cartoons aren't just for laughter. They can also help shape who we are and how we treat others. That's it for today, friends. See you next time.
This program was brought to you by SABC Education. Enriching minds, enriching lives. SAFM has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Under the code, we are committed to giving news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that is not harmful, does not amount to hate speech, or contain violence or explicit sex. If you think we are not living up to that code, then you can inform the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Direct any complaints in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. PO Box 142365. Craig Hall 2024. Fax to 011-326-3198 or an email to bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more information, please visit www.bccsa.co.za. Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
Alrighty, let's catch up with Gloria Kiondo, Deputy Resident Representative for the United Nations Development Programme South Africa, and they've partnered up with the Western Cape government and the City of Atlanta and other collaborators to host the Timbuktu Creatives Hub in Cape Town. How are you doing, Gloria?
I'm very well, thank you. Good afternoon, Bridget.
Afternoon. Thank you so much for the time. Okay, let's talk around the creative hubs, the Timbuktu Creative Hubs that is being hosted in South Africa, and why this is a vested interest for the United Nations Development Programme alongside the various stakeholders.
Well, it is a vested interest for UNDP, United Nations Development Programme. This is an innovative idea, and it is actually pan-African. It's not only in South Africa, but it already exists in multiple African countries, building a network of university-based pods and specific sector hubs in either fintech, health tech, climate tech, etc. So the idea is to scale up youth-led ventures, innovators, and accelerators.
Continue.
Okay, I can go on a bit. It has a big ambition to mobilize $1 billion over the next decade, assuming we are able to deploy this across the continent to support 10,000 startups and improve livelihoods for all these different sectors and the economies that this idea and innovation will unlock.
I mean, a very sort of ambitious goal for the 1 billion USD in startup capitals. And obviously impacting the 10,000 youth-led startups. And how do sort of initiatives like this also go on to speak and answer to the United Nations development programs as set out?
Well, so the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, works with the government to support the government's national development priorities. And we are all aligning our work towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, it is clear, and the UN has made it clear, that the small and medium enterprise is one of the vehicles to achieve the SDGs. And without SMEs, we can't achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. So we are looking at the creative economy as a space within the SME, because we know that in South Africa, for example, SMEs contribute over 1/3 of the GDP and employs 60% of the workforce. In the African continent, that rate reaches up to 80% of the jobs generated and all the businesses in the continent. So it's clear, if you're looking at inclusive economic growth, livelihoods, jobs and opportunities for the young and the youth, that's the way to go. So we are looking at this in its larger space, beyond just creative, as fun, as entertainment, and as a hobby, but more as an economy and a giant, if you look at it from the perspective of the African continent and the estimated population of the youth between now and 2050.
And given what you've just said, Gloria, as well, I mean, we know that the creative industries on the continent is probably one of the most powerful economic drivers when you look at what it's done in territories like Kenya, like Nigeria, South Africa, just to mention a few. And contributing well over $4 billion to the continent's GDP, as you outlined. But for some reason, it's still very much, Africa's creative economy still very much remains quite underfunded. Less than 1% of the, from what I read, with less than 1% of the global creative economy investments directed to the continent. What's missing there? What needs to be redressed?
Well, what we are learning and what we are trying to do as UNDP, addressing that, is to really highlight the role of partnerships, right? Because it takes more than just one agency or one entity. And UNDP, our role as a convener is really to build the stage, convene governments, investors, the diaspora networks, to open the doors so that the youth themselves can come in that space and engage and deliver. So for example, in our learning, so this hub in Cape Town is only 8 months old, and we've already been able to support and mentor 46 entrepreneurs from 20 African countries. So you can imagine, only 8 months old, and we are already having 2 cohorts running with strong youth and women's participation, including Black-owned businesses. So what we are trying to do to address the challenge that you've mentioned is to establish partnerships and demonstrate the proof of concept. And we are working with the Western Cape Department of Economic Development and Tourism to partner and sign a memorandum of understanding with the city of Atlanta. The idea is to also mobilize the diaspora capital, but also connect our African entrepreneurs from South Africa at the beginning, but with Africa continent in the near future, to access the US markets in industries such as music, film, and digital media, but also the other markets in the African continent, because we are also struggling in terms of being able to do business. I mean, if you look at South Africa to West Africa, even the ability to travel takes you maybe a day and a half to travel, let alone conducting business, accessing the markets of all these different markets that exist. So we have to look beyond us and looking at partnership and tools that can enable us, including the African Continental Free Trade arrangements and such tools.
Mm, mm. And you know, when we talk about sort of maybe some of the things that need to be addressed, and particularly the challenges, you allude to connectivity on the continent. Still very much a problem, a problem that needs to be addressed. The ability for Africans to just move from one point to the next point in the most efficient manner and time conducive manner remains a challenge, but also infrastructure remains challenging in many parts of the continent. And does this speak also to just the importance of having various stakeholders and partners come on board with an initiative like this to look at perhaps even avenues that Africans can begin to create and monetize and maximize on that outside of just the continent, while still bringing the investment and still bringing using the resources of the continent, but perhaps leveraging on international partners and their experience and their infrastructure.
Yes, I mean, I think you touch a point there where even the ability to trade between and across African countries, for example, the role of the digital ecosystem cannot be overlooked, right? Because there's a lot of business happening online. How are African countries able to tap into those markets and those spaces? So digital connectivity, in my view, is something that needs to be enhanced and empowered for the traders, innovators, and the creative experts that we are trying to support to be able to market and sell their products and their businesses. But there are other areas where we need to bring in even the political will by using the regional economic bodies, whether it's the SADC, the AU, because there are parts where business alone can't unlock, and where you need now the political will, and that's the role that the UN can play, and the UNDP is trying to unlock those spaces by demonstrating the value and the ability to create jobs and expand the creative economy such that our government can then help us to address those bottlenecks that perhaps sit beyond the creators and the creatives themselves, but rather go cross-border engaging and business. Yes.
And as we wind down, Gloria, for African creatives creating and participating in the creative economy at the moment, how do they begin to tap into the resources of platforms like the Timbuktu Creatives Hub?
So the Timbuktu initiative is, as I said, is Pan-African. The one in South Africa, which is based in Cape Town, has actually put 2 cohorts in place. But we always announce these opportunities to invite more because we also want to connect the artists or the creative participants with mentorship, giving them additional skill sets and supporting them through their journey, where they then graduate and we get more cohorts. So to be able to do that, we need that partnership, because we can't only do it by ourselves. So we have initial funding and initial investment, but we are trying to call upon other partners to come on board. And that's the reason why we are trying to even engaging with the City of Atlanta to create, to develop a creative tech fund that allows us to mobilize then the resources that are needed to support this industry. Not only to get market, but really to also support the ones that are upcoming and starting. So we have this initiative also in the Unipods, where we support innovators in their early stage of innovation. And then the creative is just another opportunity where we have a specific sector in the creative industry.
Yeah. Gloria, I thank you so much for the time. That was Gloria Kiondo, who's the Deputy Resident Representative for the UNDP. That's the United Nations Development Programme, South Africa. We're going to take a quick pause, and then we come back and we wrap up the show on an even higher note by giving away some tickets to the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply. The Tourism Business Council of South Africa presents the Tourism Leadership Conference from the 17th to the 19th of September under the theme Matters of Tourism, Growth, People and Policy. The conference brings together leaders to explore how tourism drives jobs, growth and opportunity in South Africa. Catch SAFM live on Thursday, 18 September, for exclusive conversations shaping the future of tourism. The TBCSA, the leading voice of tourism in South Africa. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. The National Pulse, weekdays, 3 to 6 p.m.
Give us like a Rafiki one-liner.
Lalela, Pulapul, Simba, Kwalasel. Tell me, who are you? No, here comes a person who says, who am I? I know who I am. Who are you?
Well, the storyteller is telling story, John Carney.
Ashraf Garda on SAFM. Find the podcast at safm.co.za. You are listening to The Full Circle.
I mean, they want to play music, and I want to talk to our winners. So it's a battle of who's going to get their way in the last 5 minutes of the show. Since it's the Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, I get to get my way. Let's give away some tickets right now. We are going to be hopefully making someone very happy. You know that we've been running the competition around the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz, and this month we are giving away our tickets for you to come and join us. It's going to be an incredible weekend from the 26th until the 28th in Sandton. Let's see if we've got Victor Malau on the line. How are you, Victor?
I'm well, and how are you this afternoon?
I'm incredible. Thank you so
Awesome.
much. Did you have a good
Awesome.
weekend?
Yes, I did.
Fabulous. So listen, Victor, it's our 89th birthday, and we thought, you know what, why not actually see if Victor can join us at the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz this year. Congratulations, you are the winner.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yay! Thank you so much.
You know what I love? I love that demure yay. Are you at work?
That is the sound of a winner right there. That's my namesake.
I love it, Victor. I love it. Well, listen, congratulations. Looking forward to seeing you at the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz. You can now start vetting who's coming with you.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, SAFM. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Only but a pleasure. I've got not just one set of tickets today, but I've got another set of tickets. Basi Choke, how are you?
Afternoon, how are you?
Not the Basi I was expecting.
This is the real one. There's no other.
I'm great, thank you. Are you good?
Very good. And how are you?
I'm fantastic. Tell me, who are you looking forward to seeing at the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz?
You know, I'm a jazz collector. Unfortunately, these days CDs don't work anymore. So anything jazzy, that's for me.
That's for you. Well, congratulations to you.
Oh, thank you, SAF man, and happy 90th, 89th birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, we're not quite at 90 yet. Trust me. When we get to 90, I'm going to make sure we have giveaways for 90 days.
Yes. No, this is a great station, and you guys, you are making it even greater.
Oh, fabulous. Thank you so much. We thank you for the kind words. Well, congratulations to you. Looking forward to meeting you when you come out to the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz. Those are our winners for this afternoon, Victor, Malau, and Basi Choke. If you know them, please don't bother them now for tickets. Sienna's Nina. I'm going to start blowing up their phones wanting to be their plus ones. That is all the time we have for today. Giving away not one but two sets of double tickets to the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz. Remember, the whole month we're giving away tickets, so you definitely, if you know you entered the competition in August, then you definitely want to take your phone with you everywhere you go, even into the boardroom meeting. You can always whisper like Victor and be like, thank you so much. And we'll understand that you're in a boardroom meeting. From myself and my team, we'll see you tomorrow. You could have been anywhere you chose to be with us, and we don't take it for granted. Inshallah, God willing, we do it again.
Thank you, Bridget and the team on the top stories. Millions spent on deportation of illegal immigrants and at least 13 dead in Nepal protest over social media ban for SFM News. I am Onde Lambana and a very good afternoon. Home Affairs Minister Dr. Leon Schreiber says nearly 80 million rand has been spent in the 2024-25 financial year on the deportation of illegal immigrants. He was replying to a written parliamentary question by the Patriotic Alliance's Millicent Mutapa. Mutapa wanted a breakdown of the costs that the department has incurred in deporting illegal immigrants over the past 3 financial years. In the 2022-23